Welcome to the 24 T2 tournament for Lime War. This is the finals, the final best of three. Daseabneren versus Animorph. Both players have fought a long tournament to get to this moment, and here they are. Animorph in the northwest with Daz in the southeast. Animorph is feeling very safe at the moment, far away from Daz, and is heavily going into economy. He's got 3 towns up already and 2 industry being built, whilst the docks in the back there's being built. So he's going to be mostly expanding with the start of the game with the units that he's got rather than producing anymore. As for Daz, he's doing a bit similar. He's getting the towns that he can up and running, but he doesn't have much else available to him to start with. And he's getting a factory and 2 barracks set up to begin with, and that's how they'll pretty much start the game. However, it looks like Daz has a group of units running up into the northern section, and he's setting up another factory there to be built. He's trying to cut off the expanse of Animorph before Animorph can actually expand too far. So with most of these matches so far, I have been showing you how close these players have started, but instead I'm showing you how far away they've started. They are fairly reasonably starting on the opposite sides of the map, right in the corners, and it looks like Animorph is going for a bit more economy. He's got 2 more barracks though, which are now set up, or close to being set up. And Animorph is expanding down. He's focusing this way first. He's got a couple going that way. And as for Daz, he's got a group of units just over here. It looks like he's building tanks, or at least will be soon. He's got Sam being produced here right now, but he does have a line for tanks, and I think he's going to be doing that soon. He's also going into the economy as well, as much as he can, as his expanse allows for. But he just needs to gather the territories first. I'm guessing he's going to build that as soon as possible. But Animorph might be wanting to go for a city as soon as possible. He's getting an airfield up in this little forest over here. He's already got a tank spraying off this way. I think that's mostly just for vision at the minute. Maybe a scouting thing to see how far Animorph has gotten to. And he's noticed him there, I think, and he's just going down this way instead. So he's going to be trying to capture these 3 territories here to create a standoff to push back with. I think Animorph's noticed him there, and he's going to be trying to set up something to hold him off. It looks like Daz mostly wants to focus on this area instead of trying to push through this wider area. He's got most of his forces lined up to come through this section, whereas Animorph is still spread out quite fastly, and I think he's trying to go more this way. So they do have a focus on different locations, but I think Daz just wants to get through this area because maybe the terrain is more favourable for his idea. Just a random guess, but it looks like Animorph's going heavy into air units. At least heavier. We've got only 1 energy well for him. He doesn't actually have any energy wells just yet, but he is still producing the units, so it's probably a good idea not to overinvest in that. Daz actually has a navy yard in this section too, so that could become quite handy, especially if he ends up building missile ships. So the tanks moved away from this section, and Animorph's taken advantage of that, reclaiming this territory over here. I say reclaiming it, it's not his, but it was rightfully his. And the tank has snuck past all of those units and just tried to drive off around here and get a foothold somewhere on this side, so that Daz can have outposts in multiple locations. Those infantry are just trying to sneak around. I think he saw him digging in a defense and then just tried to move. But that one tank, although he's not really going to be able to do much over here, especially as they're trying to put pressure on him, he is drawing most of the forces down this way, allowing these forces to catch up and get to this area, rather than Animorph expanding through. Right, I would like to have a look at their economy, because they're starting to engage with each other a lot more. That tank sneaking through up there, trying to get into the back of the base by the looks of it. But Animorph's on 900 already in the game, whereas Daz is on nearly 800, so they're pretty close to each other on the economy side of things. The tank for Daz did get through up in this section, so he may have another city that he can hold on to. Or at least a city spot. It might be hard to get industry as well, because that was snuck around the corner. But Animorph He does have air units in play now, and he does have his energy well there. He does have another one available to him here, actually. Quite a few SAM here, though, along with missile ships, so those are going to struggle to stay in the air. One of them does go down, the other's heavily damaged already. And an interceptor has come straight into this section here, trying to hold them off. Making sure they don't take off once more. And it looks like he's on his way back now. Animorph's got a nice little defense over here, and he's put a defense here, but just out of reach. And Daz is bringing his units around this way, and he may actually be able to take out that structure if Animorph is not paying attention there. Which it looks like he is. He's bringing his forces down straight away. The interceptor's being called in to try and take on these guys. It looks like we've got commandos coming out. I'm not sure where they're planning to go. I'm trying to have a look around for the command. Over here it looks. So trying to get around the back of Daz's base. And at the same time he's pushing him forward with these units in the center point, which is bringing Daz back a little bit over here. And he's trying to actually swing around the side of this defense, going straight for the artillery there. Over on this section, it looks like Animorph may lose this structure, actually. But it could be quite close. I mean, they're targeting it with infantry. These artillery are just taking out any infantry around. The strikers are able to group up on these missile ships and SAM that were in this section. And now Daz has pushed in through the centerpiece, but it looks like Animorph had a defense set up there already. And it is now, Daz is now going to have to worry about these commandos in the back of his base, which he may not even know about. I don't think he's got vision over here, unless he saw them cut across here, which may not be within his range. Let's just have a quick look. We're looking at Daz. He can see the commandos there now, but he may have seen the jets come across. But either way, it doesn't look like he's responded. No, he's responding to it now. Over in this section, he's digging in just to hold him off. I don't think he wants to try and focus on too many battles all over the place. Those commandos are coming right into line of this helicopter, but I don't know if it can see him. No, one helicopter on its own will not see them, but the interceptors most certainly will. And I think they're going to get taken out there. There has been a group over here. They've been facing off right now, so we've got two defense lines there, but commandos have managed to sneak into the back, and we have a structure being placed there as well, so they'll be able to start building up in numbers behind that defense. It looks like the interceptors actually took out a unit over here. Saw it fall into the water, but I couldn't see which one it was. I'm assuming it was the commando transport jets. Strikers have spotted this area. It's fairly unprotected. We've got the missile ships trying to move in, and they'll have interceptors to come in soon. But he does take out one factory that was just left vulnerable there. More commanders moving in as Animorph is also bringing his forces in through this section, trying to break that defense there. Actually, no, it was Daz trying to break the defense, pushing forward. And Animorph is holding that line pretty nicely. I think we've cleared out the commanders in the south states too soon. We've got some territories being captured here. Or unless they have been cleared out and it's being taken back, I'm not sure. Strikers are moving into this area now, and there is nothing they can really do about it. They've got some missile ships here, but there's also submarines. Animorph has submarines in this zone, which is pretty much just to take out these missile ships. Animorph is putting the pressure up. He's bringing units down here and finding any way to get through. Taking more territories as he goes, and he keeps on trying to make sure Daz is on his toes over here as well. Yes, there is a territory being captured. The commando's just here in the mountains. Over in this section though, it looks like Animorph is building up in numbers and is about to advance on these barracks here. There is a tank there to defend with, but I'm not sure if he's going to have enough there to do it. Most of the units on this defense line here are infantry, so the artillery are just outranging them. And now the strikers are moving in to try and clear out these areas along with those submarines. And Daz retreats rapidly, which was a good call, because that would have been quite a quick kill of that ocean there, that lake. But Animorph takes control over this spot, which would be an energy wow. Animorph's pushing through on this section here as well, straight into the forest with a large group of infantry. Taking out those barracks as quickly as he could, and he will be able to probably hold this choke point. This map's got quite a lot of choke points on it to advance and progress through. Just trying to make sure nothing appears in the back end of things. Interceptors are being called into this lakeside area, and it takes out the transport jet as well. And we do have more units being called into the center force here, and they'll be trying to drive this force of Animorphs out of the way. And a lot is going on over in this section. The strikers are being called in. They've taken out pretty much all of the missile boats there. And down in the south here, Daz is trying to push through in the northern section. But over on this side, he's left it very vulnerable. There's a large force moving through in this section here. And they will be on top of Daz very soon. If Daz doesn't have enough to defend this section with, he's going to seriously struggle. He's got a lot of air units going over there. But these are mostly interceptors. There's a helicopter with them. But the interceptors aren't very good at dealing with ground units. Animorph strikers are coming out and clearing out Sam as well. He doesn't want them to build up in too large of numbers that he can't handle, and then he's going to be able to keep control over the airspace and be able to assist his armies over here. So we got a lot in defense, but he could bring those strikers back straight over on this section and try and take those out, and he's doing pretty good with the energy as well. So this area is just trying to hold off the main force, and Daz is sending everything he's got that way pretty much. And unfortunately he's just not quite getting through there. But down in this section, Animorph is pretty much killing everything there, and Daz has lost this section over here now. So that's more economy for Animorph. The strikers come in and pretty much clear up the Sam over here. Not fully, but they did a good job. But those artillery will pretty much clear up the rest, and as soon as it sort of eases off there, he's going to be able to push through there. But Daz really needs to try and bring something down in this section, but unfortunately he just can't. He's got too much pressure from both sides there. And unfortunately, Daz had to wave the white flag on the first game. Animorph is up a point, Daz is still on 0, and, well, let's see how the next match goes. Can Daz bring it back? Completely contrary to the first battle, both players are starting very literally side by side in this game. Now, that does mean this could be a very short game, or it could last a very long time if they start to expand the map, forced to close off a border at their front lines there. But we'll have to see how they battle it out. Animorph going for a completely different approach to his last game, ignoring all of his economy potential there. He's going straight into 3 factories and 2 barracks. A very offensive start. He's also placed it as close to the enemy as possible there. As for Daz on the other hand, he's got 2 factories and 2 barracks there, with a navy yard in the background over there, and he's got defences being deployed throughout the forest, right on the edge of that forest to get the infantry bonus and to hopefully prevent the enemy getting the same bonus. So here we can see where Animorph was going. He was going straight in towards this forest with a move command. He's trying to find a way through. He's very meticulously trying to plan an assault here. And he's seen a gap, and he can get through just here. Now, which means if he can get through there, he can get right in the back of these defences and take out those infantry from behind, which means they won't have the bonus from the defence. But both players in this situation here will have the bonus from the forest. He's trying to get right in there, trying to take out one of these factories very quickly. But Daz is bringing his units around very fast as well. He's not underestimating this attack. He does have to leave some units here though to let these infantry assault, and it looks like he's going to be trying to jump on them very soon. He's already got the command set up there. He is trying to expand around, and he does have a transport boat nearly done. He's going to be trying to cut off Animorph's expansion there, and he's literally coming straight through here. He's not going to go back or anything. He's going straight towards Animorph. Maybe up to here. Down in this section, Animorph's on the retreat. He's going to be trying to dig in with his artillery there. But unfortunately they have been jumped on too quick, so Animorph's artillery are a bit stuck here. The infantry are rushing around, and they've taken out most of those artillery right at the beginning of the game. The infantry are pushing through, the artillery are backing up from behind. But both players still survive with all their structures in the beginning of the game. So instead, Daz is trying to bring his units around and potentially tackle any expanding forces I think he's trying to go for. Or anything he could try and snipe that's not protected. Over here, the transport boat has already taken a group of units. It's coming back for another group. And I think Daz is content on holding this line here in a defensive position, whilst just continuing to grab the territory he has here and, you know, his newfounded land over here. And his infantry is still trying to rush around, see what they can find. It looks like they're going up towards here. I think he might be changing his mind once again over into that section. But Animorph is not willing to engage down here either, so he's just going to set up his defenses and they're going to face off for a little while. Near the gunfire from these guys, they're trying to escape to other places, but they're shooting each other as they go. There's a bit of barracks set up in the mountains here. But Daz also has a barracks over here. Sorry, I keep calling him nickname because it's 1:30 in the morning. Both forces here are starting to grow in numbers. Mostly Daz is sending his away, I think. He's stopped sending more. He's just capturing more territory here for now. But he is still building up that level of extra defense. He can see what Animorph's doing. So I think he's presuming an extra attack there from him. They have found each other now, so they're right on each other's territories here. And I'm just going to quickly have a look at the economy. I know we haven't long started, but we're on 530 from Animorph. And Daz is on 470, so Animorph is actually ahead of Daz. But Daz is cutting off that potential to grow even further. So soon, Animorph will have to fight through Daz to get to where he wants to go. Daz can hold him off, he can expand further and has a higher potential. We have a good engagement over in this section. We've got the infantry trying to meet block over here, be a meat shield, while the artillery pushes through, and it has seemed to work. We've taken out quite a lot of these defences here. Daz is struggling with energy for some reason. I think he's just expanding through the ocean, taking the territories there. And he still doesn't actually have any energy production. These units are going to jump on Animorph's section over here. But I think Animorph has a good amount of units over here and it's going to struggle to actually get through. Stop him from getting through. Certainly not impossible, and he's slowly wearing him down with the units getting back into their defensive positions. He switched it now, so the infantry rush into these front ones here and the artillery stick around at the back over here, so this is allowing him to stay in there for a lot longer. Even as the infantry weren't getting there, they were just trying to rush in between the firing lines, allowing Daz's artillery to fire more often at the right targets. A group of infantry sneaking around into the forest section. Animorph has noticed this and has seen the artillery splitting off into two groups now to try and protect it from both sides, but Daz is now bringing his forces straight down it to protect the artillery instead, and has now technically left this area exposed. Just trying to make sure I don't miss anything else going on. Daz is also now expanding this way instead, and leaving a little bit of progression this way. Or production, I mean. So now Animorph's forced to dig in on the edge of the mountain over here to try and get the units to stop moving, but he does have airfield now. Does he have energy? He does not, so no one has energy, but both players are using energy-based units for a bit. And the infantry are pushing through very well through this section. They're just sneaking through this corner bit And they might actually be able to take out that barracks there if Animorph's not paying attention. But Animorph is also pushing through this section once again. He's got a good defense here, so if they try and push back, he can just turn that back on and they can all get back on it. I'm trying to keep both in sight at the moment. Over here we can see the units got through. There's not too many of them, but the artillery over here are about to be jumped on. But they did take out a barracks over there. And I don't think we're going to see much more from that battle over there now. Animorph's trying to clear a space through here, and more artillery have been put into place. I just think Animorph's losing ground, or losing more than he's gaining by doing these attacks here. Daz has also brought units up into this section. He's going to be able to take on this energy well, actually. Relatively unchallenged, and that'll stop those helicopters after a while. He still has some energy that he got from the starting part, which is always going to be there until he uses it. It looks like Animorph is held up on the attacks once again. Just trying to see if I can check anything new, like any airfields or something. Helicopters are roaming the skies over here. We do have Sam moving in, trying to hide in the forest there. I think they will be able to get into place, but Animorph is also investing in this area. Maybe a bit too close to the front lines for my liking. But if it pays off for him, he might be able to get through. But I do think he's fairly trapped over here. He can't get through in this section. Daz is holding him off pretty well. And I think he realised that. So he's called the game, and Daz gained a point back. Which means both players are with 1 point. Which means we need another battle. So let's see how they did their last battle. This will be the final battle of the tournament, by the way. This will decide the winner of the tournament. So this is the map where the final battle will be taking place. Animorph is taking center stage right on the top, which is kind of like the center of mass for this landmass, if you treat it as only land, but obviously you can cross the water. So Daz is in the south and he is blocked by water to the left, but he can definitely cross it. So Animorph is starting with pretty much only barracks. He's got 5 barracks and 1 airfield. He does have energy available to him very soon. And I believe he's going to be trying to expand the map as fast as possible. Those infantry will gather territories really quickly. And it will also supply his airfield with commandos, which can hop around the map very quickly. Daz, on the other hand, has 2 towns, a barracks, and a navy. So he's going for a bit of economy, rather than trying to expand so fast. But he is also planning to go across the water, and not try and go across too close to him, but much further away, closer to Animorph. And he's just added a new barracks down there, and another airfield just by that town up there. So here we have Daz's location. Animorph is up here there with all those infantry that will be expanding the map. Now I am a big fan of using a lot of infantry, but it does have its flaws and limitations. But we have a boat coming in from here. We can see a commando drop here, so Animorph is planning to come down towards Daz straight away. And those infantry will be leaving very soon, so this may actually be quite exposed. Depending on how slow Animorph is, actually. But Daz is going to be expanding quite nicely. He's got a few infantry, a few barracks there. And he'll be able to cut across over here. And I think he's planning to try and cut Animorph off in this section here, if he can. That's why he's got this line going that way. But Animorph has all of these lines planned out already. But those commandos are being dropped in straight away on top of the energy well. And they might be able to take it out before it can be built, which is going to hinder Nickname quite well. Not Nickname, sorry, Daz. He's also got 1 infantry over here randomly, which might take a while to take that territory, but it does save his energy well there. Animorph may need to send a few more commandos next time. We've got a lot of planning to line out this map from both players. Mixing up, it's starting to look very messy already. People have got to work very quickly. So we have 2 transport boats, one coming in on this side, which is good because you need more than just one to take the territory in a timely manner. And we have a barrack set up on this section over here, so they're going to be trying to expand very quickly. on that side. I think Daz thought it'd be more important on this side. He's sending his helicopters to try and support this location too, which is going to be a problem for Animorph as he has no factory. He can't build SAM units. The only thing he can really build straight away would be an interceptor. But those slots are getting filled up. I suppose he does only have helicopters they can move, can't they? Apart from the transport jets. He's feeling quite confident now. He's going for some industry, which is usually a very good start for early games like this when you're really far away from your opponent. Trying to have a look around. Daz seems to also be building some industry as well, setting up for the future. He's also increasing his presence on this side. He's got 2 barracks there now. I would like to quickly look at their economy as they're slowly starting to expand and see what they're doing. Animorph should probably be a bit further ahead because he hasn't had to worry about transport yet. So we've got 700 from Animorph and 712 from Daz. So Daz is doing pretty good. But then Animorph has already launched an attack, so that's possibly why he's a little behind. Not that it's really significant at all at that amount. They are about to engage, and Daz has spotted the enemy, so he's building in the mountains over here, a bit of a defense. He's left a little gap here, which could be a bit problem. He could try and sneak him around the back. Helicopters have moved in, so they're both having the same issue there. Because neither of them have anti-air. Oh, actually, I was mistaken. Daz has anti-air via the seas, bringing them in very fast to try and protect those infantry, which are also going to help try and destroy any units to come this way. Over on this side, it looks like they did notice each other. They've set up a defense on that side, but not too much is going on there yet. Now Daz is struggling with energy, trying to move his navy and his air force at the same time. Seems to be a bit too much for him to handle. We've got a factory finally coming out. We've got barracks there as well, so he could get some anti-air there through that factory. On this side, however, Animorph is confident he can push through, and he's planning to do so. It looks like he's going to be able to push Daz out pretty quickly, but there are some tanks sneaking around the side up here. The infantry have found the end of the line here. He's bringing his units around to the side of this defense to try and take it out. But Daz has spotted the opponent's structures over here and is going to try and target that barracks. He's got 3 helicopters heading that way right now. And they're on strike commands. They're going to unleash all of their ammo on that straight away. And they took out the barracks pretty effectively. Over on this side, the tanks are just taking territory. They're not moving too fast, but we've got a defense set up in the forest here, very directly on the edge of it. And these infantry are going to try and sneak around the sides there. I feel like I need to split screen this one and record both sides. Over on this side, we've got the helicopters still trying to tear up what they can. It's only in the sea that they have anti-air boats there, and dropping in right on top of here, I think, those commandos. There you go. These units are trying to sneak in around the side on the right-hand side of the map, and they're doing a pretty effective job on it. But unfortunately, Animorph's focused only on this section here, in which he might have favourable odds in. But with the helicopters supporting, it might be a bit more difficult now. However, there are quite a lot of units spread out across here trying to claim territories. And Daz doesn't see this as too much of a threat, otherwise he would have brought these guys back in. He may see it as more of a threat in a bit with 3 factories there. But Daz will survive there for now. And Daz is increasing his barracks quite a lot in this section. He's mostly going for anti-air and infantry to fill this area, which is a good option with the forests around. There's quite large forests. When it's in defense, the infantry might actually be the preferred option here. So Daz is on 1100, whereas Animorph is now on 1200. So Animorph is now ahead when it comes to economy. The infantry engagements here probably won't last too much longer with the factories in play, but the factories are only producing anti-air, which they really need to do. But the players can't cover all the grounds here in a defense. It's not as easy as that this time. The helicopters do manage to snipe one of those factories there, and there's some tanks moving in. Looks like Nickname's got a plan for those. Yeah, they're coming in right on the back of these structures soon. He's letting them build up in numbers, and he'll have 7 tanks there soon. Transport boats are dropping units off right in the center here, where Animorph failed to do the same to Daz via the transport jets. Daz has made an attempt on him as well and succeeds. That means Animorph is out of energy and unable to use any of his air units. I don't think he built anything else. It's just helicopters that are now stuck on the ground. But those infantry there have been cleared up. But there are going to be more putting pressure there. So Daz has found a way to keep pressure up on all sides. Got a lot of pressure being pushed up through these sections, just very spread out. And there is a defense here, but Daz is just trying to go around it, find a way to poke a hole in, and those tanks are in the back there, taking away those factories and removing that production. He also knows about the production up here. He's bringing his tanks up there, try and come in and take away those structures as well. I'm just going to have a look over here. It looks like Daz is focused on defense in this section, and Animorph is still trying to push through. Those infantry are being pushed into the center of his main location. But I don't think they're going to do too much damage there. The tanks over here, though, are tearing those structures to pieces. But to be fair, the infantry are tearing the tanks up to pieces as well. I think they're going to get 1 barracks here. I thought they were actually going to get more at first. But I think Animorph has got control over those tanks now. And doing that has also allowed him to construct these structures over here. He's got a factory now, 2 barracks, and another one trying to be built. But at the same time, Daz is bringing in boats through into this forest as well. Which means Animorph is being pressured from multiple sides on this section alone. And it's also trying to get through on this section too. But Daz has so many barracks there. It's just producing so many infantry all at once. Helicopters have been called into this side, but the missile ships have just been moved over to the side there to protect the land. And there is a tank sneaking through, trying to get through into that section, and another group of tanks coming in after. I think this one's just trying to look for targets. As you can see, he already knows about this. He attacked it earlier, so he's got 1 tank sneaking off this way. And I think he's hoping that that will also be a distraction, because these tanks are not going to take the same path. They're coming into this section here. He's hoping that tank will lead any units that could kill tanks away, while he has those units coming through that section too. But unfortunately, they did end up getting blocked, and they've had to retreat. And Animorph has quite a strong infantry presence there. Now the infantry are just coming into an artillery defense line now, but they are actually doing quite a bit of damage there, and will eventually get through, I think. Over on this side of the map, though, we have the infantry putting pressure this way. Animorph is actually getting around Daz here, though, but Daz does have a force coming in. And will probably end up engaging there soon. But Daz is also trying to take out structures on this side as well. The structures are being strike commanded, so they're going to be just targeted before any other unit. And the infantry are just jumping on those structures very fast, and they are destroying them pretty quickly. Being in the forest as well, the infantry are boosted. The helicopters are just focusing on the larger groups of units. And the tanks are switching their plan. They're going this way instead of going through the main way they were before. But Animorph has a few sections of 3 barracks there. And it is coming close to a factory of Daz's as well. There's helicopters from both teams in this section here, trying to protect what they can. Over in this section, Animorph has set up some nice defences in the mountains here, but unfortunately Daz is just trying to sneak around the sides there, and he's going to come through and take out these SAM units. There is helicopters here, and there isn't much Daz can do about the... actually no, he's got a large force of SAM over here. He's got a full flower there for SAM units. We've got a strong group of tanks, but it looks like Daz is really struggling with energy. Got lots of black smoke coming from those helicopters. They just won't lift off. What about those transport boats? He's not sending any more units randomly anywhere else. He is just focused on consolidating what he's got on these areas. He's building them up in this section here. These tanks are just going to rush off and go straight for this energy well and the town. I think he's going to target these along the way, assuming that he can get through. I think he's changed his mind now. He's pulled them back in that section. You can see quite a lot of infantry and artillery moving into these sections. He's called his helicopters in to potentially clear a path, I think, and see what they can do. But the interceptor's coming in as well, and they're going to try and take out the helicopter, but there's enough helicopters, or certainly enough SAM on the ground there to take out that interceptor. More barracks being built in the forest on this section, and the infantry are getting dangerously close to Daz's structures there. But Daz is putting a heavy push into this section here. They had to change their defense to be on this side, and yet Daz was able to bring them through on this side instead. And what about the units that were over here? It looks like they kind of engaged, and then Animorph actually won. He's got a few units there. Down in this section, it looks like Daz did a good push, but he's going to need to potentially reinforce this area a few more times. These artillery have built up in the large enough numbers. They'll probably take defense in the mountains there. Those tanks have finally found a way through. They're sneaking through in this section. They're going to target this town, then onto the energy well if they can, but there's a few helicopters being called in that might be able to take them out. Both players have just got a lot of engagements going on all at once here. It's quite impressive to see them trying to manage it all. Especially as me, even just doing replays, is darting around the map. Both of these players must have been doing the same thing. Try and break each other at any point in this game. And as we're here, we may as well just check the economy. Daz is on 1,700, whereas Animorph is on 1,400. So Daz is technically up on economy. But I think Animorph is struggling to potentially contain him. He's trying to push through and break through these sections here. And the tanks were defeated just before destroying that energy well up there. But they did take out the town. There's a large force of infantry moving into the site here. They're trying to take out the structures of production. It is pretty much that who can take out the most production at this point. As soon as you take out those production structures, the opponent has to invest again into constructing those again, just to keep up. And these infantry have gotten quite heavily into the back here. I think he's calling in what he can to try and protect it, but I think he's going to lose at least one of those barracks for sure. I think he may lose another, but there is a good amount of infantry there to hold him back. Animorph is swarming this location. The defense is set up here, but he's getting through them. And there's quite a lot of production that Daz may lose here. But he is bringing some tanks in. He doesn't have those productions solo. He's got a lot of productions in the back here as well. And those tanks are just coming into this section here. They may end up coming just in time to save this barracks, along with some helicopters here, but unfortunately I just don't think it's enough that was quick enough. The interceptor was called in just as well into this area, and it's taken on the helicopters. Once heavily damaged, it's just gone down. Barracks there does go down as well. I do want to check what's going on over here. Quite a large battle. It looks like Daz is winning on the left hand side, but Animorph is pushing through hard on the right hand side as well. They're sneaking around. They're going to try and target the town. They hear they're just going through in a larger force. I think they will eventually get that town, but there is enough here to do a lot of damage to those infantry. Animorph's forces are breaking through on the forest section over here, and they're slowly making their way into it. The tanks did some damage and then rushed away, but the infantry that were here have managed to take out the barracks that were in place, and these tanks have just walked by a couple of their own that they could have targeted. But Daz is eventually losing these structures on this side. Animorph maybe actually be gaining some income from this, some capital. But maybe not. It looks like he's staying about the same, but Daz has increased his economy quite a lot. I think it's mostly because he's finally grabbed all the territory down here. But he's also bringing infantry up into the forest here. So while Animorph is putting a lot of pressure in this section, Daz is also trying to cut off this section over here and potentially relieve that pressure, even if it was only for a little bit. It gives him more time to potentially break through over here, which is how he's doing it. Animorph is setting up even more defenses as Daz slowly does take progress over here. And here he's bringing in infantry at the sides of these defenses via the transport boats, and they're just going to help allow these forces to push through. Whereas this side, Daz, although losing a lot of structures here, has retreated behind these lines and now has some easily defendable choke points here, especially on this section here. And he can just continuously send his forces through in this way to try and get through that section too. Over here though, most of this defense is infantry. In fact, no, all of it is infantry, so these artillery here are going to get free kills unless Animorph decides to get his infantry off and try and jump on these artillery, but that's going to be very difficult in this situation. We've got helicopters even bringing in some firepower there. And these boats are going to try and cut off the supply over here of infantry. But Animorph's not giving in either. He's also breaking through the defense of Daz on this side. But the helicopters are also helping to defend, and I don't think Animorph has any SAM apart from over here. So that's why the helis are on this side instead. Something just shot across the sky, saw a line of smoke over there. Now on this side, unfortunately for Animorph, he is losing ground much faster than Daz is on the other side. Daz is holding up some good choke points, but unfortunately Animorph's choke point is not as easy to hold. And he's got a few structures here invested that he's going to end up losing as well. So I think Daz's forces are going to end up breaking through in this section, and Animorph's just going to have to race around to try and defeat him on this side instead. Which it looks like his forces are thinning out, but this defense line is slowly falling down. There's not much in place there yet at the moment. So I think Animorph is slowly getting through here, but it's just taking him far too long compared to what's going on over here. There's quite a large group of infantry approaching this defense line, but the infantry here are trying to get to all of these defense lines and just can't quite make it there before getting overrun by the infantry of Daz. And Daz has recognized the defense, he's trying to get through on this section instead, just on those sides. And more infantry are coming in through the center point via transports and are going to easily be able to put pressure on this, which will stop the production. There we go. I was just going to quickly check the other side, but I ran out of time. And Daz has won the game. He was able to put a lot of pressure on Animorph, both players having to run across the map, trying to figure out what to do on both sides to try and break the opponents, and both found a way to break the opponent on either side. It was just unfortunate for Animorph that Daz's plan was much more effective by the looks of things. Let me know what you thought of the tournament. Daz is the winner of this tournament. The 24 T2 tournament of Lime War has been won by Daz. So congratulations to Daseabneren. And also congratulations to Animorph for getting this far in, and to many of the players that played throughout the videos we watched, as they all had 1 games to try to be there. Thank you to everyone participating, thank you for anyone who organised it, and thank you for all the viewers watching it. There are 2 videos on screen right now, feel free to click on one, and I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.